welcome to João Tralhão. I mentioned he's a keynote speaker at our convention. He's from Portugal, and he's got a pretty extensive background, a UEFA Pro license in Portugal, coached both in the youth system in one of the top Portuguese clubs, Benfica, as well as in some other, in the senior team in some other top Portuguese first division clubs. He's also been an assistant coach at AS Monaco in France, working with a very well-known head coach and former player, Thierry Henry. He's also got a background in sports science. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And in addition to his work as a coach, he's an analyst, a writer, and teaches courses, believe it or not, on this exact topic, which is periodization of training. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So João, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Perhaps just to get us started on this topic or before we get into the topic, rather, if you could just tell everyone that's listening and watching at home, and anyone who's going to watch this video later, a little bit about your own background, as a player, as a coach. How did you get from just starting in the game to where you are now, and the work that you're doing now?
Okay, first of all, thank you guys. Thank you, Richard, for the invitation. It's really a pleasure for me to be here and try to share my ideas, try to discuss some new topics. It's really different. We are a little bit far from each other. We are in Portugal. I'm in Portugal, you are in Canada, but we are talking about the same sport, the same passion about methodology, about the game. And of course, for me, it means a lot. And thank you for the invitation. Thank you guys for being here. I hope in the next maybe 90 minutes max, but 60 minutes, 75 minutes, we can discuss something. We will have time to discuss much more, not only the upcoming days. If you need or if you have any additional questions, my contacts will be available and we will keep in touch for sure. But also, I'm really looking forward to meet you guys in the convention in April and to present a little bit more about my ideas, my philosophy. The practical session, I think, will be really, really good for us to discuss. So, yeah, that's it. About me, Richard said almost everything. In resume, I started my coaching career at the age of 20, and yeah, I was a former player, not top level player. I played in a medium level, average level, and then I decided when I went to my sports science university, I decided that I need to follow my passion. My passion was football and coaching, and my first contact with the coaching environment was really good, and it made me think about why I was always the captain of my teams, why I always ask my coaches what we are doing in the session, what we are doing in the purpose of the exercises, everything linked with the game and the methodology. It was really inside me before that. So my first contact with the coaching environment, it was really easy to decide to quit playing because I will never be a top class player. But I thought that I need to follow my passion, football, and of course coaching. And then yeah, I decided to go to the university. I started really soon, and yeah, we had a protocol, my university and Benfica Academy. And here in Portugal, Benfica, who at that time and now, but they are divided in two different academies. The first academy is for the kids who are paying. They pay to learn football. They call it football schools here. Okay, Benfica football schools, and they have after the competition school or competition academy, and they start to compete regional first and then national at the age of under 15. So yeah, I went for an internship to Benfica schools when I finished my first year of my university, and yeah, about that protocol, I was really privileged because I was one of the best students at the end of the first year, and I won an internship in Benfica. So after that year, everything becomes so natural, so clear. I learned a lot from the people who were there in the schools. I invest a lot, and after the first season, they invite me to be assistant coach in the competition teams. It was really fast, and it was really unexpected. But yeah, it was really good for me at that time, and I was really excited. And then it becomes natural my progression in the club. I become the under 19 head coach after 7 years in the academy. I coached every age group till there. Also, at the age of 27, I was the assistant coach of the first team at that time. In January, the Spanish coach José Antonio Camacho left, and the Benfica board, they decided to create a staff just to be the caretaker. And I was called to be the assistant coach, and the things went really well for us after that. And then I became the head coach of under 19, and 7 years in a row, I achieved 2 times the UEFA Youth League finals. And then, yeah, we coach so many. I'm a privileged coach because I coach so many talents that mainly Bernardo Silva, Ruben Dias, João Cancelo, Renato Sanchez. Yes, so many talents. João Felix. And then I became the under 23 coach of Benfica. And after that, I was taking my courses, my UEFA A and UEFA Pro licenses in Wales. And I met Thierry Henry. He was my colleague in the same class, in the pro level. And he invited me to be his assistant coach in Monaco. And of course, I said yes for 2 reasons. First, I needed a different challenge after 18 years or almost 19 years in Benfica. I needed a different challenge, and I want to challenge myself. I wanted to challenge myself at that time, and of course, to help my friend Thierry and to help in any way, just to add some value to his work. And yeah, it was really easy to take the decision. After that, we left, and I became the head coach of the second league senior level here in Portugal. And from then, I'm just linked with football, in so many ways, coach education, Portugal, around all over the world. I'm always investing in knowledge, in experiences. I visit so many clubs, so many friends in football, just to learn and to be prepared for the next level. Yeah, that's me. In resume, sorry to be so long.
No, it's a lot to condense into just a few minutes, and it's again it's an honor for all of us here in Canada, just to have somebody with so much experience, especially at the top level of the game, and hopefully everybody here, including myself, will learn a lot and take a lot away from this discussion. So there are some things you said which I might want to come back to a bit about the sports science and maybe the connection between Portugal, like with the coaching, education, and the faculty and everything. But to start with, the topic today is periodization of training. And so maybe if we can just get started, can you define periodization? And then maybe just in general, how is it related to football? And then we can get into more about the preseason specifically. So
yes, that's a really good question, and we have and I don't want to be so long in my first explanation, but yeah, I really started so early in my career at the age of 20. And when I started, it was at more or less the same time that tactical periodization becomes so discussed, mainly here in Portugal, because was Vitor Frade, a teacher from the north side of Portugal, Porto, University of Porto, and they started just to create concepts about tactical periodization. And I didn't was aware about what tactical optimization mean at that time. So I will go there after. But back in the days when I started to plan, and I needed to plan, in my mind, I just wanted to focus in this. I need to train to help me to play the way I want, but I need to train that. Okay, there are different things. First, I need to have an idea how I want to play, how I want my team to perform, how I want my players to develop, and then how I train in order to match both. Okay, and I was really focused on that. I didn't believe, and I'm very fortunate about that, I didn't believe that only the players could help me to play my way. I believe that I need to teach them, and they need to learn how I want to play, but the way I need to teach them, it was on the training sessions, about the planning, about my periodization. So I started by that. It was my basis, my main foundations. After that, I created my game idea, and my game idea was based on myself values. As a person, I'm a guy, I'm a brave guy, I'm an ambitious guy, I'm courageous. I like to control everything. I like to have things in control. I like to dominate. I'm an offensive-minded guy. I want to attack always. It does depend in what or where, but I always want to be offensive. I don't like to be defending from everything comes to me. I like to attack things. I like to be offensive. And yeah, it was really the foundations to create my game idea. And the way I see football, back in the days, since I remember when I was born, I born in the 80s, and then I started to watch football in 84, 85, 86. And from then, I always enjoyed football, attractive football, offensive football, creative football. And when I became a player, the same. I was a creative player. I always liked to play an attractive football, offensive football. And yeah, it was really the basis. And I create my game idea. I wanted to attack more times than I defend. When I defend, I didn't want to spend so much time defending, waiting for the mistakes from the opponent. I just want to provoke the opponent. I want to attack. And I started from that. After that, I created my methodology. How I should teach my players to play these ideas. Should I copy some exercises from the top coaches, or should I create my own exercises? Should I create my own planning? How I should do? And I'm very fortunate guy. I decided well, and I decided the long way. I decided the hardest way. Was I needed to create my exercise. I need to create my exercises, my planning. It will take much more time, and I need time to do that, and I need to spend much time to do that, but I need to do that because I will be more happy as a coach, as a person, if the results from the training sessions and from the planning, it will be the way we will play on the field. That's that in general. That's my foundations as a methodological coach. It was my methodology. It was my philosophy. About periodization, what I can say to you. When I start to plan, I wanted to be the most effective coach possible. And the most effective was, okay, I could start from, okay, let's try to develop individuals, isolated, and then we try to bring them together and to play coordinated or synchronized. Or I prefer to have an idea. All the players, they will know how to play our way, and we will focus the planning, the exercise creation to synchronize everything, every single behavior, every single principle. So I start to base my game idea in principles. I created a structure of principles, like, okay, example, simple exercise, or simple example. I want to be brave playing out from the back. I want to be brave. I just want to play. I didn't want to play long balls. I don't want to take few risks. I want to take much risks because if I take some risks or more risks on build up from the back, players will feel more comfortable with the ball. They will develop more types of learnings, more skills. They will be much more prepared for playing professional football. So let's start from here. I want to be brave playing out from the back. So to be brave and to play out from the back with possession, what are the main principles to do that? How should we play like that? Okay, this is my macro principle. Play out from the back. Okay, be brave. Now I need to find principles to materialize that. And what? Diamond shape, the most solutions possible. We need to try to play forward as possible always. And after that, after defining the principles, I started to define my sub-principles. The sub-principles means the details. Details means, because if you talk to a player, if you communicate to a player like, okay, we need to be in diamond. Okay, they understand diamond, but they will not understand how they should do that, when they should go to that, the exactly positioning to do that. So the details for me are were so important to create this structure. Like, okay, let's do this. I will try to build the principles, but I need more. I need to go deeper, and I need to find details. Details for what? To explain my players how they should do that, when they should do that, what they are doing, to where, the direction to do that. And when I found this structure, macro principle, and sub-principle for every phase of the game, I was really prepared to be a coach. I was really prepared to teach my players the game, to teach my players how to play. So in a simple way, I built my principle structure, and then the methodology followed all the principles I wanted to teach. And this is the basis. And how I periodize, how I create my periodization. My periodization was really simple. It was, I used to call tactical, but of course is not tactical only. Tactical is the starting point to create my periodization. Why? Because, simple way, I have a week, I have a eight days week, and I need to periodize. I need to divide what I want, and then I need to put contents in every day to be logical. And in terms of the week, within the week, in terms of horizontal organization, I started from that. Okay, on Monday, match day -6 or -5, it depends. On Monday, I want to coach, I want to develop the general principles of our game. Like, general principles are, okay, quick reaction when you lose the ball on the defensive transition, playing out always, playing out from the back, playing in possession, try to explore in between spaces, try to create space, try to find the third man. Those principles, general principles on Monday. And then on Tuesday, I defined to coach or to develop the defensive principles of our team. Okay. On Wednesday, I defined to coach the general not, but the global principles, like as a team, not units, but as a team. And on Thursday, I started to focus on the offensive organization only and defensive transition, always by units or global organization. On Friday, imagine match day -1, I defined to coach mainly the set pieces, and I take note on that, mainly the set pieces, not the day to train set pieces, but mainly set pieces and offensive organization and all the moments of the game. I will go through all the moments of the game, but mainly focused on offensive organization. And then on Saturday we play, Sunday day off. So I divide within the week, horizontal organization, I divide contents to work every day. And I repeat the weeks, I repeat the week, the next week and the next week, I repeat the same periodization, but I increase complexity on the days. Imagine, Monday, week 1, Monday, Tuesday, defensive organization. We did 2 against 1. Simple exercise. Simple example. 2 against 1. In the week number 2, on Tuesday, we will do 3 against 1. And on the week 3, on Tuesday, we will do the same, but 4 against 2. So we increase complexity in terms of vertical organization week by week. And from that, I have my periodization on the week, and I have my periodization throughout the weeks. And I repeat all the weeks, not the exercises. The exercises, of course, they change, and I want to challenge my players constantly. But in terms of horizontal organization, I repeat the same content every day. Of course, it will depend on the type of week. Sometimes you play 2 times, you play 1 time a week. It depends, and I have my organization for different weeks, but I try to repeat the same. For what? Because I want to create habits on players. I want them to understand what they are doing, and things should make sense, and then should be logical, should follow a logical sequence. Of course, if you repeat the same week every week, it will be not enough challenge player. You need to increase complexity throughout the week. So this is in general and in a simple way how I try to create my periodization in the in-season period. Okay, I try to create my periodization from that. And of course, the starting point, like you heard from me, was the tactical aspect. Always the tactical dimension first. But I don't only focus on the tactical. For me, the game and the game idea is based not only in the tactical dimension, but I used to divide in 6 dimensions: tactical, technical, social, physical, psychological, and cognitive. Okay, those 6 dimensions, I have some principles for every dimension. And when I periodize the week, or when I plan the week, I plan all dimensions, not only the tactical dimension, but it is the starting point to build everything on it.
Thank you so much, and as a very nice, broad, reaching explanation of periodization for sure. I've got a question, just as you're speaking, and so because you mentioned the 6 dimensions, and
yeah.
A little earlier on, you mentioned sort of you keep that horizontal organization fairly similar in terms of what you do on Monday, Tuesday, and so on. But from one week to the next, you increase complexity, and you mentioned increasing complexity of the tactics. Yeah. Now, do you try to increase the complexity of all 6 from one week to the next?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So
it's a good question.
Right. Yeah.
It's a top question, and we'll try to be as simple as possible. Sure. Let's imagine high pressing, tactical content, high pressing. We want to press higher as possible. Okay, high pressing. When you decide to press higher as possible, you will understand that it's not only tactical. To press high, it's not only tactical. It's far from to be only tactical, because if you press high, of course, tactically, you need to be synchronized. You need to press as a unit, as a block. Of course, statically, it's important how to do things in terms of the unit, in terms of the team. But you have, at the same time, technically decisions. Technically, you need to ensure that your individuals, they will make the best decision. And the best decision could be angles, could be the timing to go, could be the understanding, could be the coordination between the closest player. So it will depend technically. You need your players, individuals, to understand technically what they are doing and technically how to do that. The timing, the angles, how they will react if they beat the press. So technically, they need to understand that as well. So we have tactically the unit, the shape, how we do that. The technical individuals, they need to understand the technical decisions to take in the pressing as higher as possible. As a social dimension, they need to be the most cooperative possible, because if we don't understand each other, if we don't cooperate each other, probably the pressing content will be not successful. We need to understand who is going to there. And in the squad, sometimes you have two types. Imagine, example, you have two types of strikers. One of them, it's quick, intense, and he goes so quick, and you need to adapt to him to press well. But if you play with the second striker, the profile is completely different. It's slower, it's tall, and it is not so intense, and you need to adapt as well to him. But you need to keep pressing as well. So in terms of social dimension, you need to understand who is in your side, and you need to understand them, and you need to cooperate with them. You cannot say that, if the striker number one is playing, I will do that. But if the second one is playing, I will not do that. I'm not available to do that because it's so slow. I need to run faster, and yeah. So in terms of social dimension, you need to develop this in your team. You need to explain this to your team, and you need to create an environment for everyone to be cooperative with each other. In terms of psychological dimension, pressing high is so demanding, and you need to be so strong in terms of mental competences, because sometimes you press, but you don't win the first ball, and you need to win the second ball, and you need to go in the second wave of pressing, and then you should go to the third wave of pressing. So in terms of mental qualities, you need to be developed. It's not only, okay, pressing, let's do the first on the session, let's do the first time, okay, we won the ball, perfect. Then we go the second time, okay, perfect. No, it's not that. Pressing, it will demand from your mental competences so high. You need to be prepared to do pressing. You need to press 90 minutes. It's not possible, but as close as possible to 90 minutes. So mental qualities are so important. Then in terms of physiological, I think it's very clear. To press, you need to be prepared to press. You cannot train pressing in 80% of intensity or 70% of intensity. You need to train pressing 100% of your intensity, okay? So pressing means intensity, means speed, means you will not allow the opponent to have initiative, and you want to stop them to have initiative, and you want to stop them to decide and to execute. So you need to go on the most intensive possible way. And of course, in terms of cognitive dimension, you need to understand, and players need to understand. And we have some good examples from other sports. They spend so much time explaining, showing videos, show examples on the video, on the room, for players to understand what they need to do and how they need to do that. And in terms of cognitive qualities, they need as well to press high. They need to understand. Otherwise, this is not a tactical thing. This is not a physical thing. You need to understand what you are doing. Otherwise, probably you will not be successful. So, in resume, you have those 6 dimensions all connected. You see all the dimensions connected, not isolated. And if you want to develop week by week, you can increase complexity. You should increase complexity in all dimensions. Sometimes to challenge players in terms of cognitive qualities, you cannot explain always the same thing. You should create different scenarios, different situations they need to adapt. And to adapt, you need constantly to increase complexity. Imagine, example, okay, we will now, this week, we will play against a team, they are in the bottom of the league. So probably if we press, probably we will win the ball, okay? And they always play out like this pattern, blah, blah. But if you play with top level teams, they will create you different problems, more problems. The scenarios will increase. So you need to make sure that they understand what they are doing in terms of cognitive dimension. They need to understand, and they need to show them, and you need to keep showing them different scenarios, and then they need to think about it. How I press, if I press like this, how my teammate or my colleague should adapt. And this kind of adaptation, this kind of evaluation in terms of the way they adapt, I think it's a good example how they can increase qualities, in terms of cognitive dimension. So everything is connected, and when you increase complexity throughout the weeks, you should increase complexity in all dimensions, not isolated, but from the holistic perspective.
Well, great explanation of how to incorporate all 6 of those competencies into periodization and increasing complexity. And interesting, you kind of touched on it right at the end of your answer. And there was a question that came, while you were explaining from Mukir that says, do you also work? So maybe just if you can elaborate on it a bit more, because he says, do you also work on the way you play against a different opponent, or do you keep the same structure? And I know you kind of touched on it with weaker versus stronger opponent, but maybe you can elaborate a bit on how does the preparation specifically for the opponent affect your periodization, your changes in complexity, increasing the demand, and so on. And do you ever, maybe I want to just ask this as well, do you ever decrease complexity in a model like traditional periodization? You might increase, and then decrease a bit, or is it always increasing? So yeah.
Yes, I prefer to increase all the weeks.
Always. Okay, got it.
Week by week, I try to increase or maintain. In terms of physical qualities, in terms of imagine the way we are performing, I prefer to be stable as possible. I define a line, and I try to play under this line. And I will explain you better with slides and with presentation. Maybe in April we'll have much more opportunity to explain this.
I think we should.
It will be really important, because I have some references in terms of imagine physical qualities. I have some references. I have my parameters to evaluate the intensity of our sessions, the intensity of how we are performing, and is based, of course, in some parameters, total distance, high speed running, blah 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 blah. So those references, for me, I create those references I change every season depending on the players I have and on the league I will play, and it depends always on the opponent, and I define those limits for the most demanding opponent we will find in the league. So, and those limits, I always try to practice in those limits in terms of physical quality.
Right.
In terms of increasing complexity, ideally, it's not, this is in theory. In practical, probably we'll have a different kind of approach. But ideally, we want to increase complexity week by week. But this is not possible. Why this is not possible? Because we will work with some players. Some of them, they understand and they can keep going and they are challenged and they will learn quick, but some of them not. They need more time, and you need to manage this. They need to be in the same speed. They need to evaluate in the same speed because they are a team. You cannot grab a group and just develop them in a different speed from the others, because they will compete together, they will play together, they need to perform together. So you need to manage all the levels, all the week. And for me, when we finish the week, when we finish the cycle, the first cycle, when I speak about cycle, means the week. Okay, we start the preparation when we finish the game, we start the preparation to prepare the next game. Okay, and when we finish this game, we start a new cycle. So when we finish the cycle, we always meet as the staff and we try to be the most rational possible and the most factual possible to understand the level we are. Just okay, let's assess where we are now, how we develop this week, how we increase complexity, and how they respond on the weekend, how they are performing, what they need to go back and keep going and keep developing. So we assess every week. At the end of the cycle, we try to evaluate how we are, assess how we are, just to prepare the next week. And ideally, we want to increase complexity, but in practical, it's not possible.
Right.
Ideally, you should not decrease, but it happens sometimes. And sometimes you find that, I went too far. I went too far, and I was too ambitious. Like, okay, practical example. You coach an under 15 team, okay, under 15, and you want them to press high and to keep pressing high, but they are not performing. And you spent 4 weeks explain them how they need to press high as possible. Imagine, but they are not performing. Should you keep going and increase complexity, or you should go back and try to decrease some complexity for them to understand first the basics, and then they can go again increasing complexity. So it always depends on your group. It always depends on your situation. Ideally, like I said, in my perspective, we should increase week by week, but in practical examples, we know that sometimes we were so ambitious and we went too far. The team, and though that players, they were not prepared to respond to this demanding, you need to go back. And you should go back. You should not keep going, because it will create frustration. It will create some unsuccessful results. And from that, everything it's compromised.
Great. Thank you for that answer. And it's interesting, even again, questions that are coming up, which I think you've touched on a little bit, but I have, I'll have to apologize. I'm working on my Portuguese pronunciation here. So
no problem.
Tadeo Dias, okay.
Yeah.
Who is with iPlay Performance. The question is, do you have a way to measure players' readiness to implement your game model? For example, fit to high press. What the minimum standards are for each dimension. And I know, João, you kind of touched on, there is I think fitness is maybe it's a little easier to think of what the minimum level is, whereas maybe with some of those other dimensions, it's a little more challenging. But do you have a way to measure? And I think you also mentioned about, in your example of the moments where maybe you were too ambitious or something and you need to decrease complexity or go back, is monitoring the performance in training and in games, is that important? And how do you do that? Because perhaps by monitoring, it gives you the best way to see whether you are at the level that you need. I hope that question makes sense. And Tadeo, I hope I gave the right question for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tadeo Dias. Yes. Tadeo
yes,
Dias.
that's what it. Yeah.
I'm more comfortable with Portuguese. It's easier for me.
Yeah.
Tadeo, it's a Portuguese name, so yeah, it's a brilliant question from Tadeo, and let me try to put this in place. First, I think we should differentiate, and we should. There is a difference, a massive difference between game idea and game model idea. It's completely different. Game idea, it's your way to see the game, how I see the game, how I built my structure, how I want my team to play. This is one thing. But a different kind of thing is when you train a team, could be different age group, could be different profile, could be different squad, different culture. It's different to train a team in Portugal or in Canada for sure, or in Africa, or everywhere. So it depends in a lot of factors, but game idea, it's your ideally, how I want to play. But the game model idea is the adaptation between your ideas and the squad profile. So this is different. Sometimes we make confusion about those different concepts. Concept game idea and game model idea. About game model idea, of course, we don't have any tool, any factual tool to analyze and to evaluate if the player is open, or if the player is available to, or if the player is prepared to play our game model. This is nobody found it so far.
It's a secret.
No,
yeah.
no. I mean, it's something. It's not so objective.
it's not easy to measure, right? Yeah, it's a subjective.
Not easy to
idea,
measure.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not objective, like the quantity of shots you did, the quantity of passes you missed. So it's not possible. But you should, of course, evaluate always, and you should understand your player's profile, and you should understand the team, and you should have the right picture of your players, the right picture of your team, because it's not you will not be successful if you want to apply your game idea to all teams you will coach. It could be the same team in different season, the same group, but they evaluate, they go much far, as you probably imagine, and you need to create a different game model idea. You need to adapt your ideas to this group. So how do you measure? In my experience, how I measure, it's I define a line where we should what we should achieve in terms of imagine. Let's grab the same example of pressing.
Right.
I want to press, and in the first days, I try to define the profile of the team. So okay, we have this striker, we have those wingers, we have those midfielders, we have these center backs. They are not so quick as I imagine. How I will press higher? How I can press higher if I don't have a backline quick as I wish? So let me adapt. How I can adapt this? How I can adapt my pressing? Probably I will not quit from pressing. I will not quit from pressing. I want to press, but I need to adapt to this group because my backline is not quick enough to play with so much space deeper and on their back. So how I should press? Probably I will, maybe could be an example. Maybe I will change indicators. If I have an amazing team to press, they were all prepared to press. My indicator is simple. When the ball travels, we go. Could be the first pass, second pass, third pass. I don't care. But probably with this team, I will find different indicators. Like, okay, they will not be quicker. I will not be capable. Me and nobody will be capable to inject speed on my center backs. It's impossible. They can be a little bit quicker, but they will not be quicker as I wish. It's impossible. You cannot do that. You can you can increase some behaviors for them to be quicker on the game, but not the speed. It's impossible. And okay, so I prefer to find different indicators. Like, okay, we are in the medium block, and when they do the second pass or to the wide channel, we go quick, and the ball cannot way out from there. Then go out from there. We need to press, and we need to be sure that they will not play long, and they will not play forward. So we find some indicator, different indicator, to ensure that we will not be explored our back. So differently, and of course, for that and answering the question, it's a brilliant question. Okay, you need to understand the profile of your players first, and you need to understand if they are youngsters, if they have the potential to achieve a certain level or not. Okay, you should understand, and how you understand, of course, that's the $1 million question. But how you understand that? Okay, and understand like the decision making, the cognitive competences, how they are in terms of mental competences. And I give you an example: Ruben Dias, the Manchester City centre back. In terms of qualities, when he was under 17 years old, he was not everything he is now. He was not. He was far from this. But one of the things when we look at him and when we define his profile and when you watch him training, when you watch him performing all the day, we understood that he have the potential to be much better. We can challenge, and we should challenge him constantly, always. because he will achieve a different level. He was not that, and he had some. He was struggling in terms of defensive line, in terms of angles, body angles, because before that he was stronger and he won all the duels. He won, and he was not in a position to defend deeper. He was always pressing. He was stronger, but when he achieved the level of under 19 at the age of 16, 17, he faced different problems, different situations, most demanding situations. And if we were like that, nah, he's not prepared, let's put him aside. No, he's not ready, let's put him aside. Probably we will make a massive mistake, and we will lose a top player he is now. But we understand that, fortunately for us, and of course wasn't lucky, was experience, knowledge, and we found that he needed to be challenged. We need to explain him. He need to experience and to have the most experience possible throughout the sessions, throughout the competition games, throughout all the process. We need to challenge him constantly, and we need to increase him in all dimensions. We need to develop him because he was always available to suck all the information. So it was really some indicators we had to make us sure that we need to invest on Ruben Dias to be better and better and better. But some players sometimes they are not prepared to that, and they are not prepared because in terms of mental qualities they are not ready to do that, and they don't want to do it. Cognitively they are not good enough to understand, or physically they are in a stage that they will drop a lot. So there are some indicators that we know that we should invest and we should increase, or we should just be stable or decrease some contents for them to be adaptable and to make a career. But yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy to measure. It depends on our knowledge, indicators, and in your experience.
For sure, and I'm hoping we get to discuss that a bit more next month for sure.
For sure.
I realized we've had an excellent discussion, and we haven't really spoken specifically about the preseason. And so I know that you mentioned and I think a really good thorough description of periodization, horizontal and vertical, and
yeah.
So let's say in the preseason, and this is a time like right now in Canada, so the amateur clubs anyway, like we're going through preseason right now. Even our own professional league, the Canadian Premier League, is going through the preseason, and the MLS clubs have they've just started their season. But this is it's a relevant topic right now because a lot of us are coaching in preseason. So let's say with the same model, first of all, do you keep the model the same in preseason? And second of all, if you do, is there anything that you might change within the attention to each competency, increasing the load or the complexity, anything else to keep in mind regarding preseason?
Yeah, that's a question. I was discussing this topic early today.
Oh yeah, all right, good.
with a friend of mine. He's coaching in the Bundesliga, the first team of Bundesliga.
Yeah, in
Germany, and we were discussing that. And for me, my main principle in preseason, and I don't do nothing different from that, is I just want to prepare my team to play the first game of the season, the competitive game, the in-season period. I want to prepare my team to play 100 football I want, in terms of physical qualities, tactical qualities, individual qualities, all dimensions. And I just want to prepare. For me, the preseason means I want to prepare my team for the first game of the season. And then, from then, of course, I will periodize the in-season like I explained to you. So for me, preseason means you need to create some habits. It's habits. I don't agree, and I read about it, so much about it. And I saw some examples about preseason periodization. For me, doesn't mean that if you want to create a different preseason as or comparing with your in-season periodization, you will make a mistake, okay? Because you will create different habits to your players, differently that they will do in the in-season period. So you should create habits for your team, and habits means could be, imagine, first week medical exam, everything connected with medical, physical, blah 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 blah, and then on the first week an adaptation, field adaptation, just for them to practice, for them to experience the ball, blah blah, and for you to understand the level they are in terms of physical qualities, how they prepared themselves in the off-season period. So the first week, the first days are just to adapt, and then from the really first week, and I prefer pre-seasons with 6 weeks, okay, between 4 and 6 weeks, ideally 6 weeks. My opinion, that's enough. Yeah. But you, in the first week after the adaptation, we should start to periodize like we will periodize the in-season period. Like, okay, let's start to develop the defensive organization on Monday, or on Tuesday, the offensive organization on Thursday, blah, 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 blah. But we need to ensure that the players in this period, they understand how we will play, okay? Your game model idea, it's my priority when I plan the preseason. I want my players to understand and to be synchronized, the most synchronized as possible in the first game of the season. So I need to explain them how I want to play. I need to explain them how is the intensity I want to do things, because intensity for me means everything on the game. You need to be intense. You need to play intensive football. I don't like 90% of intensity, 80% of intensity. I like always 100% of intensity. And if you create an habit since the first day of the session, of the preseason, for your players to practice 100% intensity, you will be prepared to play intensity football in the first day of the season. But how you do that? Of course, there are some guidelines in terms of physical qualities developed. Like, okay, for me, as a coach, I'm not a specialist, sport science specialist, and I learned a lot from my guys, my sport science guys, because they try always to put me boundaries and do not step away from this time, the blah blah. But my question is always with the sport science staff, with my staff, it's always, okay, if we are not able, we are not prepared to practice 3 minutes maximum intensity, okay, we will practice maximum intensity, but we will decrease the time. We will practice 1 minute half, okay? And then to practice the second repetition, the same intensity, my staff, they can say to me, look, we are not capable to just to rest 30 seconds. We need to rest 1 minute to make sure that in the second repetition, they will do again 100% intensity. So this is the way I try to plan my periodization, preseason periodization. First, ensure that we create an habit like we will do in the in-season period. Okay, we create the same morphocycle, microcycle. You can name it like you want, but we periodize the same week as we periodize the in-season week, the same contents. Of course, we had some volume. Not only on the team training, but as well on the complementary sessions, as well on the video analysis, as well on the gym, as well on the room. We increase volume, and we start with this volume, and we start to decrease to find the ideally volume to practice under our intensity mentality, 100 intensity. So we manage the effort and the pauses just to make sure that the players will be completely prepared to play 90 or 100 minutes during the game on always high intensity. But yeah, that's a little bit deeper question. But in general, that's how I plan my preseason.
Yeah, makes sense, and I think it's a good rationale in the end that if the preseason periodization starts to look different than what the season is going to be in 1 month or 6 weeks or whatever it is, then you're going to take longer to adapt to that in-season model anyway, right? So I understand it, and I hope that was a good summary there. There's another question that came, João, and a little bit of a different one, but it's from Brian Niabure. Okay, don't know if I'm saying that right, but good evening. When it comes to tactical periodization planning, is the men's planning similar to women's? And if not, how do you differentiate the two? And I don't know, João, if you have any experience coaching women or not, but
hello, Brian. Thanks for the question. It's a very good question, and let me tell you something. I never coached a female team, and I'm not so close as I would like to be to female football. But in the last month, I was asked to be closer because as well I cooperate with a channel here in Portugal, a TV channel, and they are the TV channel from the Portuguese Federation. So I go there and analyze games, analyze the daily basis of football in Portugal, and Portugal was qualified for the first time for the World Cup, the next World Cup, feminine football. So I was asked to know a little bit more about the game, and what I found it was there are different sports, there are different games. It's called football, it's football, but the profile of the game, it's different. Okay, it's different. You cannot apply the same principles to female football and men's football, because if you will ask that those girls, they play an amazing football. I like to watch the games, and I'm very happy when I see the female football happening, because they play with passion and they play with always the most commitment possible, and that's really good to watch. And quality, and in Portugal the quality is not as the same as US or even Germany or Scandinavian teams.
Don't forget Canada. Don't forget Canada. Yes.
Yeah, Canada as well. So yeah, Canada as well, because we don't have the same culture. We started just probably 15 years ago, and you already started much more earlier, and it's a good advantage. But our girls, I like to see the girls game because they play a different football. But let's compare with volleyball. The men's game, it's completely different comparing with the girls' game, because in the girls' game the ball is always on the air, playing. On men's volleyball, service, reception, boom, finish. Yeah. Service, finish. So it's different kind of games. Football is the same. You cannot ask the girls to do the same as men. This is my first foundation when I speak about female football comparing with men's football. And then I think in terms of periodization, I think the principles are the same, because when we speak on, when we talk about football periodization, we are not talking only about football periodization. We are talking about collective sport periodization. I believe when you create this kind of periodization, and I studied that, and my knowledge is about that, when I study this periodization, it wasn't only about football, it was about collective sport periodization, and the principles are the same. If you I don't know anything about American football, nothing. It's not my environment. I don't understand nothing about the game, unfortunately, because I would like to know more. And about hockey, the same. I don't understand nothing.
Oh, when you come to Toronto, we're gonna have to watch some hockey then. For sure.
We need to watch a game. We need to go out and watch a game. It will be really, really, really nice. But I don't understand the game. But I believe if you try to understand the periodization principles, probably we'll find a lot of similarities. So I think you cannot apply the same game model principles to female, but you can apply the same periodization principle to female, because it's the same sport. It's the same collective sport. It's a collective sport.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. Thank you for that. I have now. Okay, so this is Mauro Estacchio. Okay, Boa João. I don't know. Maybe he knows you. I don't know. But saying regarding, does that name sound familiar?
Yeah, familiar. I don't know if Mauro have something connected with Stefano Stacchio from Porto and
with our Canadian midfielder. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, it's possible, but anyway, Boa João, regarding preseason, as you mentioned, it's important understanding the club players and level you're at. With your involvement in different clubs, some in the Champions League, some in Primera Divisão, Segunda, Juniores, etc. Obviously, depending on where they are, they have bigger or smaller off seasons. Does that impact your initial approach to the longer or lower time of rest?
Yeah. Hello, Mauro. Nice to meet you. Yeah, thank you for the Portuguese welcoming. And yeah.
Oh, he says here, I'm sorry, he says played for João when he was at Benfica Juniores. I did my youth at de Ilha.
Okay.
I'm butchering your Portuguese language. I'm sorry.
No, yes. No, I understood, and probably I remember him because when we played against this team and Union Leiria, it always tough, and they were always prepared to play tough games, and probably we meet each other and just say hello, hola.
Yeah.
Tomorrow,
or maybe he gave you a kick or something.
No.
No.
I behave myself, and probably himself. He did the same. So he did the same. So, but hello, hola, Mauro. Yes, of course. The level. Now I can say, and one of the things I was missing was try to understand different realities, because I grew up in Benfica, almost 19 years working there. The environment is completely different from the other ones in Portugal. Then when I traveled to France, when I traveled to the second league senior level in Portugal, when I traveled to different leagues, and I was a Morocco Federation consultant as well. So in different levels, I found a lot of differences. And the off-season period meant a lot on the preparation, meant a lot. I think now we should, I think football should, now we are in a good level of that, but back in the days, we never planned the off-season period, and we lost so many days, so many weeks preparing the team and try to reach the ideally level of physical qualities. Then we needed to spend 8 weeks or 9 weeks doing the preseason. It was really crazy. So now the off season will allow us coaches to have a shorter preseason period. You don't need to have eight weeks to prepare your in season. You don't need that. If you in the off season, if you give some plans to the players, and if you keep monitoring your players, just sometimes only a text, only a video call, only the results of their training session day by day. Like now we have some good apps just to monitor all the workouts they are doing or not, and we should and we must create a commitment between us as a staff and the players as professionals or as a player. Of course, we need to create a commitment between us to be prepared to have this communication. Like, okay, I don't want you to lie. I just want to be true. Just be truthful and just understand why it's important every day. Try to make some abs, some push-ups, some running, some workout. Because when you arrive at the first day at our club, you will be at the same level as the others. If not, you will lose some time. Probably will not be good for you. So we must create this commitment between players, and we should create this, I think, this off-season commitment with the players, because it's really important. It's really important. You know, when you get the players in the first day, you will be happy as a coach if you don't need to waste time preparing some physical qualities, blah blah blah. You just need to grow, and of course they need, because team preparation is different from individual preparation. It's completely different, but the basis they should have. So I found some differences in some different levels, and now I can tell you, I did not put aside the off-season period importance in all the teams I coached. Imagine the last 5, 6, 10 years ago, and I will keep doing the same, probably much more. I try to go deeper, because it's a world I need to explore more. It's a kind of world I need to explore more, and I want to explore more, and I'm focused on that as well.
Right. Good answer. And it's a very interesting question. I can say very relevant to us in Canada, because outside of MLS and even there, you know, there's a pretty long off season, but our Canadian Premier League has a very long, I mean, the regular season finishes in October, and the new competitive season does not start till April. So we're talking, and it's a significant limitation, because, you know, some of these players that are talented go from that league maybe to Europe if they're good enough, and go to the MLS if not quite ready for Europe. But, you know, they're going from an environment where they don't play as many games, and it's very condensed and all that, and now they have to be prepared for a whole season. So it's a challenge in Canada, and I think, you know, obviously a challenge in other countries. And I think your point that when you talked about preseason, João, you more or less said you like 6 weeks and maybe even 4 weeks. Well, that short amount of time, that works really well when the off season is not very long. So I think it goes hand in hand there. So,
That's the point.
So I know it's getting late over there. I don't see any more questions here from the audience. Perhaps.
I watch a question here from.
Oh, here's one from Mohammed. I'm sorry. Yes, it came up about athletics exercises in the preparation in the preseason. I think he's asking about, do you use athletic exercises in preseason?
Yes, I will try to connect athletic exercises to exercises without the ball. Okay. No, I don't. I think we should. And I believe, I'm completely convinced that all the exercises should be football exercises, should be with the ball. You should create exercises with the ball, because you will maximize your session time. You will not waste time doing things that they will not do in the game. You can develop resistance, you can develop VO2 max, you can develop strength. It's not easy. Sometimes it's okay, but it's not easy. You should go to the gym first, but you should develop speed with the ball, because they will do the same in the game. They will not practice around the field running. It's impossible. They will not run 100 meters and after that 100 meters back again without the ball. Okay. 3-4 times, they will try to have ball, a direction, the components of the game, and I will explain you in the convention how I see the exercise creation. I think it's important, but no, athletic, I put aside those kind of exercises, and I try to create exercises always, football exercises with the ball, with opponents, with transition moments, with the direction always. And it's challenging for a coach to find and create exercises to develop these physical qualities with the ball, but it's a good challenge. I think we need to spend time in that, because the results on the players' development and on the team development are completely different.
It goes back to the principle of specificity.
Exactly.
So, right.
Specificity always, yeah.
So John, who is our executive director here, he wants to know, and maybe this is a good one to finish. What was it like working with Thierry Henry?
Amazing.
Yeah.
First, I learned a lot from him, because he knows a lot about the game. He knows about the game like no one. Not only because he was a top class player in the world, one of the best players in the world, but because he's very, very interested in the game knowledge. Always he invested a lot, and he's keeping invest on the game knowledge, on the methodologies, on the game idea. And in terms of ideas, I learned a lot from him, because he's completely passionate about the game, completely passionate about coaching, and yeah, but mainly about the game itself, the practical examples he can give to you around the game, completely crazy. Some details, I learned a lot. Details about movement, details about the timings, details about everything connected with the game was completely blown away. I was really privileged to and I am really privileged to be his friend. Working with him, it was really tough. It was really hard, because when we arrived in Monaco, the club was in a different environment they wanted to be, a little bit chaotic. New academy coming in, the old academy, they didn't have the standards that League One and Ligue 1 club like Monaco should have. Now they have a proper academy. When we arrived in October, we found 17 players injured. And we need to go to the under 19 team, the B team, and the 22 team, recruit some players to play Ligue 1, Champions League games. So it was really tough, but we tried to do our best. We did so many good things. One of good things we did was we promote players like Benoit Badiashile. Now he's playing at Chelsea. When we promote him to the first team and playing regularly, he was one of our main players in the back line. He was only 17 years old. He played Champions League games, he played Ligue 1 games. And yeah, now we are very happy to see him playing at Chelsea and national team of France. So we did so many good things. But I wish for Thierry, for us all, but mainly for Thierry, I wish that at that time, a massive club like Monaco, because they are a massive club, top class persons. I keep contacting them. We are a good friend. I have very good friends in the club, and I love the club, love the people. But at that time wasn't the best time for a coach like Thierry to step in, and he did everything he should do. But things in football sometimes goes wrong. But yeah, I still believe on him. For me, it's one of the best coaches, potential coaches in the world. He can achieve the level he wants. Yeah, but I'm really happy to be his friend and to work with him.
Fantastic. Well, I see. Tadeo has just, and we've got a few people that said thank you, and maybe I'll read them off to you here. But Tadeo said, thanks for organizing this meeting. It was very insightful. Just some thoughts. Says it comes down to a functional minimum and a model, periodical assessment of the model KPIs, key performance indicators,
Okay.
and what we are built for. That is the difference between coaching a team. You can shop for your players and not. It is better when the cook can shop for the ingredients.
Yeah, I'm trying to read.
Yeah, can you see it there on the side? The chat is open to you here. It's on the, yeah.
Yes, it all comes
Yeah.
to functional minimum and model
Yeah.
assessment of the KPIs, what we are built for. Is the different shop for your. Yes, yeah. I think Tadeo is right. Yeah, that's it. That is the difference between coaching a team. You can shop for your players and not.
Right.
Yeah, it's the better when we cook and shop for the ingredients. Yeah.
When you choose your own ingredients, right?
Yes. But look, Tadeo and all. I think we are not in the position that we can shop in brackets. We can shop all the players we want, and we should not prepare ourselves to be in this position, because only probably 1% or less coaches in the world, they have this capacity.
Five or six clubs, maybe.
No,
not even. No, not even. No.
Not even. Maybe 1, 2, like okay. Manchester City. Yeah, but we cannot prepare to this level. We should prepare to work with the less resources possible, because if we do that, we will be much prepared to be this kind of elite level teams, because we built our structure, we know how about ourselves, we have a structure behind us, our background will help us to be prepared to everything. So we should invest on experiences, we should invest on knowledge, and we should keep investing. Don't have the illusion to be in the position to buy bracket all the players you want, because if we think about that, we will not be prepared to be in that level.
Got it. Well, I'll read you just some of the messages, because I know it must again getting late over there. But Kate, Brian, thank you very much for your wonderful knowledge shared. It goes a long way to enhance my understanding. We've got down here, Pramuk, I think has shared his LinkedIn, and I'll ask you, João, before you go, for your whatever contact you'd like to share if people would like to get in touch with you. Thank you, guys. It'll be great to connect with you all. Ramin, my good friend and my head coach at the university where I work. Thank you so much, João and Coach Richard, for a great info session. Efer Ferreira, my good friend Carlos Pereira told me you cannot take milk out of rock. You can't squeeze blood from a stone, I guess he means. Yeah. And Mohammed, thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, I guess everybody really liked this discussion. It was a good one.
Yes.
Right.
It's a good discussion to have. So I will try to be in contact with you. I put my contacts here, my email.
Did you type it in the chat there, João? Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
LinkedIn, Instagram. Yeah. I think you can go wherever you want. You can call me, you can text me. I'm always available to discuss football and discuss everything around football. Please be free to ask me, be free to keep in contact with me. I hope to meet you all in Canada, in Toronto, next month. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to meet you, and thank you for your questions. Very good questions. I can see that you are all very well prepared coaches. So I think it will be very interesting to meet you in April.
For sure. All right. So João, I've pasted your email in the chat. I've also again pasted this link to the convention. Anyone from Canada, anyone capable and interested to come and register, please don't forget, we have just about more than 1 month to go. and we need your support. One question is, are we going to get the link? Yes, everybody. So we record, takes a little while, a week or so, but we'll put it up on YouTube, accessible to anyone who registered. João, muito obrigado. I'll look forward to seeing you in Toronto, and we're going to try for some nice weather. I don't know what to tell you. It's snowing right now. It's still. Oh yeah. We're lucky if it goes. Snow melts in April, so we'll see. That's why we're indoors.
Yeah, let's see. Now in Portugal it's 22.
Oh boy, yeah. Well, you can't tell me that. We'll just keep a jacket, and then hopefully it'll be nice by the time you come. So thank you so much, and we'll look forward to see you soon.
Thank you guys. See you soon.
Good night. Bye bye.